first it was kind of scary. You really didn't know. But I quickly learned that if you want to get out of the boat, out of your comfort zone, and you go where God takes you, even though the waters may get rough once in a while, if you got the courage and take all of everything and just throw it into the wind, and just keep your eyes upon Him, and He will be successful. And it's been a really amazing trip for me and my wife and everything.
Tell us about that moment when you and your wife, as you prayed about this, said, we're going to do this.
Well, actually, it's my wife who went to one of these meetings down in Florida, and she just got filled with the Holy Spirit and felt that God said, you need to sell everything you have and go. And she came back and told me about it, and I was, in all honesty, I was hesitant. I really didn't want to do it. But through just a couple of months, she came with a sort of expedition to Yale, and she came back and she was on fire. And when my wife is on fire, there's no putting it out. So I said, well, I can go with her and be left behind. And so the two of us went, and it's an amazing trip that he just took nothing, absolutely nothing, from a barren land and built it up to quite a complex. It's really quite amazing.
What year did you move there?
We moved there in '01.
Wow.
So it's some time ago. They were still dropping bombs at that time. So every once in a while the ground would kind of shake and you kind of look around. But it was quite exciting.
What are some of the bombs around us? What are some of the present challenges there that you would like for us to know about?
Well, I think the challenge is always going forward and to listening to what God has. You know, we never want to get to a place where we're comfortable and says, okay, well, we've arrived. We know that there is no such place. And so we're always asking God to direct us in the goal. And so now the medical center is not only doing medical work, but it's also a teaching center. And so some of the students from the capital Juba that get become doctors, they come down. And our doctors that are on the ground now, they become instructors for them so that they can take that knowledge and do good work outside of harvesters.
Great, thank you, thank you. And Joe, come over here for just a moment. You know, I think probably with the amount of turnover we have as a congregation and such, there may be a lot of people that have no idea that City Church is directly involved in building a medical facility and school in Africa. But there's been a number of people over the years that have taken this trip. Do you have any idea how many, a guesstimate of how many City Churchers have gone to South Sudan over the years?
Well, our first trip was in 2008, and ever since then, every 18 months or so, we send another team. So I'd say over 50 members have gone.
And the finest of all of those is my daughter Victoria. She's the greatest volunteer.
Hands down.
Just wanted to throw that in. Good. It's good to hear that. What can we be doing, Joe, as a church? What can we be doing right now as we think about this ministry and harvesters and all of that?
You know, City Church has partnered with harvesters over the last few years in such tremendous, tangible ways. And seriously, the hospital wouldn't be standing if it wasn't for the giving of this church. So Harvesters is very, very thankful. But in some tangible ways, you know, you can pray, give, or go. We're going to be launching a 6-week campaign in combination with the season of Lent. There's going to be a table in the Gold Room. And if you want to hear more information about what Harvesters is doing and what the members of this church are doing, we formed an organization called Kulu Fund. And basically our goal is to help fundraise for hospital projects in South Sudan and other developing countries. And so essentially what we're asking is people to pray for the orphans, pray for the missionaries. It can get very lonely in the sites in South Sudan. We're asking people to give. They can sponsor a child, or they can actually give to the hospital, school, or orphanage. And then finally, go. We're sponsoring a trip this summer. If anyone is interested, for more information, please go to the table in the Gold Room.
Right. At the top of page 17, your worship folder, you'll see a little bit about the Kulu Fund and today after the second service in the Gold Room, some of the instructions there.